It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
It has been a crazy Christmas or lead up to Christmas. And you do find that some of the buyers leading up to Christmas are either no longer looking to purchase, looking to push to next year, or they are very urgent looking to purchase this side of Christmas, but there's nothing that they're looking to secure.
And that is Daniella Rundle on the Real Estate Breakfast around Australia every morning with your property news and information. Yes, we do that 7 days a week as our countdown to Christmas continues. It is hellish out there, isn't it, in terms of shopping? We are up to a Wednesday into double digits too for December. It is the 10th. Now, Sydney's auction scene is pulling in some big ticket buyers at the moment, with homes selling for eye-watering prices, in some case millions of dollars over the last traded price. In fact, one standout was a Victorian-style home in North Sydney that just recently sold for $3.9 million, more than $3.3 million above its 1995 purchase price, and also sold well above the reserve. It's now one of the suburb's highest non-waterfront sales, showing the strength of demand in blue-chip pockets despite some market cooling, and we're going to be talking about that this morning. Yesterday, the RBA met and we reported this to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Hot off the press, I do know the detail. There was no change to the cash rate, which I think is going to be a big relief to mortgage holders heading into the Christmas and holiday season. Cash rate remains at 3.6%.
Yes, when you start talking about the possibility, as the economists were last week, saying that potentially we might have a rise, I think everybody's going to settle for just no change. No change is, I think, a win for people.
I think it is a win. I mean, there's real concern the inflationary genie's back out of the bottle. So there might be some rises in the new year, but as you say, a lot of relief for everyone just to get through the Christmas and holiday season with the cash rate held.
Get insider tips from industry professionals.
All right, let's go to North Sydney right now and catch up with Daniella Rundle of Richardson and Wrench. And a very good morning, Daniella. Welcome into the Real Estate Breakfast. Nice to have you with us this morning on our countdown to Christmas. I did mention that Victorian-style home in North Sydney. This is something that you were part of, selling for that $3.9 million. As I say, this is the highest, one of the highest non-waterfront sales at the moment. So plenty going on, isn't there, at the moment in North Sydney?
There is. Even though we're heading towards Christmas, there's still quite a lot happening in North Sydney. But thank you for having me here. It's lovely to be here this morning.
And also, I want to talk to you about the 2025 year in North Sydney, because there's been a number of new developments that have shaken down as the year has gone on.
Yes, so there's been quite a few that have been approved. We've noticed this especially with vendors and owners. They've been coming to us this year and especially for next year as well. It's usually because they believe that their view is going to be blocked, so they're looking to sell early before those developments are made.
And despite a handful of these blockbuster sales, it has been reported that the auctioneers are saying the broader market is starting to soften. High inflation, of course, we've got that. Rates are uncertain and buyer fatigue. They're all contributing to the cooling momentum, with many of these auctions now described as a grind, unquote. And FOMO is fading and more buyers are choosing to wait rather than rush into purchases. Is that what you are experiencing?
So I have found that a few auctions, you'll find that a few buyers have buyer's paralysis, where they'll do all the work, they'll get the amendments and they'll get to the auction, but they won't bid. Or they'll get all the amendments ready to negotiate, and then they'll decide that they want to pull out. They'll wait for another rate cut or for next year or for after Christmas. So that is something that I have seen as well.
Are you saying that it's more of a buyer's market at the moment in North Sydney?
So I would say slightly. In the market for the apartments, there is quite a bit of stock online. Because of that, I do believe that it's a bit of a buyer's market on that side. However, because of the houses, there's only 3 current houses for sale here at the moment. I mean, we are close to Christmas. That is an impact of it as well. There's quite a high demand for those detached houses.
Yeah, so really what you're saying is there's a lot of buyers that are into the units because obviously they're at a cheaper price point, but it's that blue chip property, those high-end quality properties, they're always going to sell, and that's the key point about your market there in North Sydney.
Exactly. So out of North Sydney itself, about 36% of it is renters. So there's mostly investors that are purchasing these apartments, whereas 37% are the owner-occupied.
We should have a look at the median prices and break that down. Let's look at the houses first.
Of course. So the median house prices for houses is 3.1. Now that's usually for a standard, say, 3-bedroom house. There's not a lot of 4-bedroom houses as seen with Riley Street and the demand. Because of that, it's quite hard to find comparables or direct sales because it's so unique. Whereas in apartments, those properties are usually a median sale of 1.2.
Wow, the median price for apartments, 1.2. I mean, it just goes to show exactly what is happening there in Sydney. That is a good point in case. We are talking to Daniella Rundle. She is from Richardson and Wrench. We'll come back with more after this.
Let's fuel your passion for property together. Join us, along with our industry experts, to help inspire and inform your next real estate decision.
And right now it is time for another property tip. Recently we were in Perth talking to David Snell there on the ground. David, you have got something for people to think about.
Thank you, Craig. Well, the tip I would give is this. A lot of sellers call the real estate agent up when they're ready to go to market or they're ready to sell, and maybe they've even put an offer in on another property and suddenly they better get a real estate agent. My tip would be call the agent in 3 months in advance, maybe even 6 months in advance, because their advice is not only the selling process, it's the preparation for sale process. And if agents are anything like me, they have a bevy of tradespeople at their fingertips that are good, that are maybe cheap, that are available, and can give great tips on the preparation for sale. And if it involves painting, for example, or carpet, it sometimes takes a while to get those things organised, to get the tradespeople organised. Use the real estate agent to your advantage in the preparation phase rather than just wait to the last minute. And I think you'll gain tens of thousands of dollars on the positive side of the ledger if you do that.
Let's go to Melbourne right now and catch up with Nicole Jacobs. You were telling me that you've been involved in the real estate industry for a while, 25 years. How things have changed in that time.
Hi, Craig. Lovely to be here. Yes, 25 years, and I've definitely seen a lot of changes from the way we market properties, the way buyer advocacy has become more and more popular and accepted, just to the regular selling agents out there. And the way we use social media, for instance, is a huge one that's changed.
Oh, Nicole, that is my favourite subject. Social media and the way that real estate agents, well, some use it, no shame, like no shame at all.
Self-promotion.
Self-promotion with no shame. That's it. Exactly right. I mean, that is a huge area that I suppose you kind of got to keep a lid on it too with your staff.
Well, you have to definitely have a culture and a mandate within the company that, really does track what you're putting out there because you're looking after a brand after all. But at the end of the day, you can't sell a secret. Being able to, for us, we love to use client stories so that people understand why you would use us. So I think that sort of thing is really important. We like to put out there what we've bought for clients, but of course, keeping confidentiality is really important as well. So there is a balance between what you put out there and how you want to be seen as well. So there's, real balance is important, and shameless self-promotion, well, I'm going to leave that to the selling agents.
Remember, we are not a real estate company. We are 100% all about increasing your awareness and knowledge for buying and selling properties.
And it is a Real Estate Wednesday, the 10th of December. Daniella is with us there in North Sydney. As I said, the auctioneers are saying that buyers are becoming more cautious at the moment, while many sellers are still holding on to peak market expectations. And I just wonder how much of that peak market expectations are still there with the vendors expecting a certain price, and perhaps that has sailed past them, but they're still sort of catching up with that news.
So with the vendor expectations, they are about 3 months behind the buyers. So their expectations are still very high when it comes to what their property is worth in the market, especially with the buyer's paralysis that is going on at the moment.
Yeah, very frustrating, of course, for agents in the Sydney property market, and I guess it can be said about Brisbane and Melbourne as well. And of course, it's normal for the market to wind down before Christmas, but a wave of fresh stock is expected to hit next month and also into February. Have you got those calls, Daniella, that are being made at the moment from vendors saying, yeah, we're going to be ready to go into the new year?
We do. We actually have about 10 listed for next year. So we have vendors that are wanting to hit the market first thing in January, as well as towards the end of January and early Feb. So we are expect to see quite a lot of stock on the market next year.
Anything that stands out for you in the calendar year of 2025 in your market in terms of, things that have been traded on, anything that might sort of stand out in your memory?
So particularly in North Sydney's market, what we found is that because of these developments that have started being worked on, because of these noise levels and the height of these buildings, some buyers are more reserved in wanting to purchase them. So some people are feeling quite nervous about this particular issue, just because if they do purchase in it, they feel that maybe their property prices will lower after they've purchased.
And Daniella, I did mention just how busy it is. Of course, Sydney is super, super crazy. You've got agents wanting to be here, there and everywhere, going out to talk to vendors, opens, of course, private showings. It does become a bit of an issue at this time of the year. How are you encountering that?
Yes, so I have found that it has been a crazy Christmas or lead up to Christmas. It's definitely a problem trying to get from an appraisal down to, say, a vendor meeting back to the office with traffic. And you do find that some of the buyers leading up to Christmas are either no longer looking to purchase, looking to push to next year, or they are very urgent looking to purchase this side of Christmas, but there's nothing that they're looking to secure.
And of course, when you're driving around trying to get to these appraisals, etc., you'll probably be listening to that Christmas music that I hate on the radio.
Well, I don't mind it myself. I quite enjoy some of the Christmas music, but after a little bit of repetitiveness, it does start to wear thin.
And what about your personal music? What are you going to be listening to over the break?
Oh, so I think I'll be with my family for a fair bit over the break. And my dad, he's a musician and he loves jazz, so I think that'll be all over the house.
What instrument does he play? Maybe the saxophone?
No, my sister plays the saxophone. My dad is actually the piano and the guitar.
Oh, so you've got a musical family. And do you play a musical instrument?
My dad wishes. No, I am the most unmusical person ever.
All right, a little bit like me. Well, great to chat with you, Daniella. Enjoy the Christmas break coming up, and today getting in amongst all of that traffic as you dart and weave your way to appointments.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on here as well. I appreciate it.
Explore new property destinations where you could live with exclusive interviews covering real estate news and market insights.
Up here in Gympie, you can buy 1,000 square metres quite reasonably priced, and it goes up from there. You can have 1 acre, 5 acres, 10 acres.
And just on that subject about infrastructure, what is actually happening around Gympie, especially for those people that are thinking, just how many services do they actually have?
Yeah, well, our population here is 55,000 people, so we are a city. We've got all the modern conveniences, your Bunnings, your KFCs, all that sort of thing. There's also infrastructure west of us here, that's large solar farms, and south of us at Imbil is the Barumba Dam, and the Barumba Dam is earmarked to have a hydro system installed. So that's going to bring hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs to the region here. So there's two pretty big things happening there. And then with that bypass as well, that brought in a lot of employment at that stage too. And that was another reason why we saw the growth of Gympie that we did, because people were working on that for so many years.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.